So this morning, JiuJitsuMania is filming from Long Beach, California. We're out here to cover the Mundials, and we have the privilege of interviewing Rodrigo Gracie. Rodrigo, thank you so much for being with JiuJitsuMania, and if you could introduce yourself to our audience base and talk about your Gracie lineage and what it was like to be born in a Gracie family and start doing jiu-jitsu at an early age.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Rodrigo Gracie. I'm the third generation of the Gracie family. My grandfather is Carlos Gracie. My father is Wilson Gracie.
And you started training jiu-jitsu at what age?
I started training when I was 4, and then when I was 12 I started teaching the kids, and then when I was 14 I started teaching adults.
And when did you get your black belt?
Got my black belt under my dad when I was 18.
And then did you start competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments and MMA shortly thereafter?
Yeah, as I moved to New York, I started training under Renzo, and then just competing in NAGA tournaments. I was Abu Dhabi gold medalist in '98. I competed on, I was undefeated on Pride, fought in K1 a couple of times too, and fought BJ in Hawaii, Rumble on the Rock.
Great. And when you start jiu-jitsu educational teaching to kids, what's one of the first things that you tell them about, or one of the first things you demonstrate to a kid, say who's 10 or 12 years old? What's the most important first concept for them to understand about jiu-jitsu?
Is what I tell them is, when I tell everybody, not just the kids, is anything that you're doing, any technique that you're doing, if you're using too much strength, is wrong. That's always like my dad and my grandfather always tell us that anything that you're doing on a person that's stronger than you, and is working on somebody that's stronger, and you're not using much strength, that means it's good. If you're doing a move on somebody that's smaller than you, and and it's not working on a bigger opponent, you know what I mean? So why do it? So all our techniques were based on self-defense, and is using leverage, not strength. So any move that you're doing, any submission that you're doing, using a lot of strength to the point that you get very tired by doing it, just you're doing something wrong for sure. So that's my philosophy. So when you guys are practicing out there, and even when you're practicing using too much strength to execute it, is wrong. You have to rethink, just go back to the position and figure a way to finish your opponent without using a lot of strength.
So jiu-jitsu tournaments have changed quite a bit since Helio Gracie was a participant, where there was no time limits and submission only. Now there's a lot more strategy and points and advantages. Mm-hmm. So if you could talk about that, where you see competition in jiu-jitsu going. I know that the Gracie Nationals this year is making a movement to go back to unlimited time and submission-only fighting. If you could talk about how jiu-jitsu competition has changed and where you see it going in the future.
Well, I think jiu-jitsu was made for our jiu-jitsu, the Gracie jiu-jitsu, was made for no time limit, and fighting opponents that bigger in size, no matter how big, or no time, because it's a game of patience. Sometimes you need to it takes some time to work the submission. You have to work the position and the submission. But I can see the competition, all the tournaments out there, they're trying to make it fun to people to watch. It's like, because you don't want to sit over there and then every match being an hour or 2 hours, you know what I mean? So you're going to be sitting there, it's going to be kind of boring. So that's why the time limit, the 6 minutes, the 10 minutes, things like that. So it's a faster pace, it's a game of points, but for the public and for the people that are watching, it's fun to watch, because plus, can you imagine having matches like you have like 200, or maybe like the the confederation has 1,000 competitors. You know, how are you gonna put a no time limit? The tournament's gonna last for weeks, so that's why, you know, the time limit. But I think people, when they're training in their academy, they should emphasize also the self-defense and, you know, and the technique. You know, it's not about how fast you finish the guy. You don't have to finish the guy as fast as you can. You have to, you know, work your way and finish the guy and work on positioning. Of course, when you go to the tournament, then you need to work faster because of the time, and sometimes you get taken down and you're losing by 2 points. You have to catch up. So the training for competition and the training for, you know, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense is totally different. You know, you're not gonna, in the street, if somebody attacks you, you're not gonna pull guard and start doing spider guard. You know, or someone that goes against you with a baseball bat, you know, go swing at you. You can't do that flying armbar. You know what I mean? You have the mats. You know, fighting the concrete. So, I love the how the competition, how everything is getting so big out there. You know, as far as like competitors, and each year is the confederation, the tournaments, they get more and more competitors. You got more people involved in the art, but what I think is a lot of schools are, some schools, they're actually going away from what Jiu-Jitsu really was meant to be, which is the self-defense. So I think that the people that are practicing Jiu-Jitsu also should look into the self-defense aspect of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Do you encourage your students to compete in at least one tournament? Do you think that's a growing positive experience for them, or do you leave it up to them, or?
I leave it up to them. They want to compete. You know, I usually I try to not let my students compete like you know, after you know, 6 months to a year. You know, and I think more and more the competitions, the tournaments out there, they're actually slowly they are cutting the white belt division. I don't know if you notice or not, they're having more blue belts now, because I think sometimes when you have a beginner, you know, novice division, a lot of people get hurt because sometimes they don't know what they're doing. So, and I kind of agree with that, because a lot of the rules is to protect the fighters, and I kind of agree with that. So that's what I tell my students is, when you get to a certain level of training, you know what I mean, like takes about 6 months to a year, that's when I think they should compete. You know, I don't force anyone to compete, but I think, in my opinion, I think you going there, doing at least once, and see how it is, you know, and experience, because it is an experience of a lifetime. You know, and a lot of guys say, oh, I don't like it. How do you know you don't like it? You never tried it, you know what I mean? So I don't force anyone to try it, but, you know what I mean, if you ask me, I think it's awesome. If, oh yeah, I'm gonna go, if a student comes to me and he goes like, oh, I wanna go compete in this tournament, I say, yeah, fine, you know, and I'm gonna tell him, say, I think you're ready. But
So what's next for Rodrigo?
right now, I'm traveling all over the world doing seminars, because you know how Gracie Jiu-Jitsu now will have a school all over the world, in every country. So I don't have an academy myself. I teach in my students' academies. So it's fun. I get to see the world. I get to train with different people. So far, that's what I'm doing. I'm still training. Anything that they offer me, which I think is going to be good for me, you know, like a fight, I'll take it. You know, I'm still a fighter. You know, I fought like 9 times, but right now I'm in the point where I'm doing a lot of seminars. So for me to stop that, it's got to be something really that I think is going to be good for me to stop what I'm doing, you know, spreading the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu around the world, you know.
Great. Well, Rodrigo, thank you so much. It was a privilege for JiuJitsuMania to have the opportunity to speak with you. Best wishes, and we'll be catching up with you in the future for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.